people that are doing it a bit hard in our local community. Now I call the member for Blue Mountains.
Thank you, Mr Acting Speaker. I rise to speak on the Credit Commonwealth Powers Amendment Maximum Annual Percentage Rate Bill for 2011. It's very heartening to know that both sides of the House are in support of this bill, which protects the more vulnerable people within our community. And this bill will be particularly welcomed by community legal centres and financial counsellors who work long and hard to support vulnerable consumers trapped in situations of unmanageable debt. Now, the Consumer Credit Legal Centre in New South Wales runs a credit and debt hotline that is funded by New South Wales Fair Trading. The centre strongly supports the retention of the maximum interest rate cap in New South Wales. Now, it's also very welcome that the Commonwealth has made it clear that it is looking to further regulate predatory and fringe lending practices. However, removing the cap now, before the Commonwealth has announced details of this regulation, will leave consumers at risk from exploitative credit. The cap represents vital, important protection for our vulnerable borrowers who are unable to take advantage of competitive mainstream rates. In my electorates in the Blue Mountains, I've been talking with community centres who are saying that more and more they're experiencing increased numbers of people asking for emergency assistance for rent, for food, for other things. Many consumers go in and get a loan only to find that they are charged a fee for a brokerage that they have never seen. For this reason, the comprehensive rate in New South Wales is important, as it requires these fees to be included in the calculation of the interest rate cap. In the experience of consumer advocates, the national responsible lending laws are welcome, but they alone cannot address the problem of high-cost credit because enforcement is far too dependent on the facts of each case. The cap allows some fringe lending to continue, but places a clear line in the sand that says how much is too much. Now, as has been debated before, there are two sides to this industry. On the one hand, there are the microlenders who operate lawfully in the market and comply with the cap. Without charging excessive costs, they are assisting people who do not have ready access to mainstream financial services, such as those who fall short on paydays or don't get their pays. They also find it difficult to manage large bills and suddenly have emergencies. These borrowers appreciate the accessibility, convenience and customer service they receive. On the other hand, vulnerable and disadvantaged consumers, many of whom are on government benefits, are being given credit they cannot repay on the contract term and are incurring significant debt in default and rollover fees, causing considerable financial hardship. These consumers are then trapped in a debt cycle from which they cannot escape, and the terms of repayment can leave them without sufficient money for basic needs. Hence, as I was saying before, the greater requests within the community centres and the Salvation Army for food hampers. Unfortunately, many of these consumers don't know or don't consider alternatives to taking out available high-cost credit when they are experiencing financial problems. The New South Wales Government encourages these consumers to use alternatives such as Centrelink advances, utility hardship programs and the community-based no-interest loan scheme. I know that in the Blue Mountains, in many of the community centres that I have spoken to, this is a very valuable service that is provided, and there's a great uptake of people applying for it. Currently, it is administered through our local community centres, and it buys things like essentials, fridges, washing machines, white goods. Now, borrowers in difficulty can also get help through the Financial Counselling Service programs, which receives annual funding of $5.56 million from New South Wales Fair Trading. Through financial counselling, consumers can gain the ability, skills and knowledge to successfully manage their financial affairs. So, in support of all those people who are very vulnerable, especially financially. I commend this bill to the House.
The question is that